There is a kind of power that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't perform. It waits, quietly, calmly, like a storm just beneath still water. This is the kind of power Nietzsche spoke of, the power that moves without needing approval, that speaks by not speaking, that influences by not interfering. In a world that rewards noise, silence is rebellion. And the most magnetic kind of man or woman is not the loudest in the room. It's the one who has nothing to prove, yet everything to offer. It's the one whose restraint speaks louder than your force, whose gaze says more than your shouting. That is the silent trick, not manipulation, not strategy, but inner discipline. Nietzsche didn't preach dominance over others. He taught mastery over the self, because the moment you master yourself, you stop needing to dominate anyone else. And that's where true power begins, not in the performance, but in the pause. The moment you resist the urge to explain yourself, to prove your worth, to chase validation, you start to emit a different frequency. People feel it. They don't always understand it, but they notice. And in a world where everyone is performing, the one who is grounded in silence becomes unforgettable. Nietzsche once wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." The moment you start to rise into inner stillness, the world will try to pull you back into noise. Don't fall for it. Because the trick, the silent trick, is this. The more you can withstand discomfort without reacting, the more people instinctively trust your energy. You're not just calm, you're anchored. You're not just quiet, you're watchful. And in your restraint, you say the most important thing. I am not here to impress, I am here to witness. And from my center, I move. That's the kind of presence Nietzsche admired. Not the obedient servant of society's demands, but the sovereign individual who bows only to their own inner command. And if this content is making sense to you, then click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Nietzsche wasn't interested in fake confidence. He didn't care about charisma that cracked under pressure or strength that disappeared the moment it wasn't praised. He spoke to something deeper, something rare, a man who didn't need applause to feel worthy. That's the silent trick most people will never understand, because we live in a time where everything is external. Your worth, measured in followers. Your intelligence, measured in how fast you respond. Your success, measured in how loudly you talk about it. But Nietzsche whispered the opposite. Invisible threads are the strongest ties. Translation: what you don't say holds more power than what you do. What you withhold carries more gravity than what you give away too easily. Think of the most powerful people you've ever met. They didn't need to control the room. They were the room. And why? Because they had learned to sit with their urges. The urge to reply quickly, the urge to be liked, the urge to fill every silence with noise. They had killed that need. They had outgrown the chase. Nietzsche believed that freedom didn't come from indulgence. It came from self-restraint. He who cannot put his thoughts on ice should not enter into the heat of dispute. In other words, the one who cannot pause, the one who cannot sit with tension, the one who must always react. That person will be ruled. But the one who can stay still while the world burns around him, that one cannot be conquered. This applies to conflict, seduction, leadership, growth. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to clarify every misunderstanding. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your silence, if it's grounded in truth, becomes a mirror. People will see their own projections in it. Some will hate you for it. Some will admire you. Some will fall in love with you. But all will be affected. That is power, not in action, but in containment. When you stop leaking your energy, when you stop trying to be understood by everyone, you become the mystery. You become the gravity in the room. And Nietzsche knew, the man who can walk away, who can wait, who can hold his truth without trembling. That man holds a sword no one else can see. Power is not found in domination, it's found in direction. Most people exhaust themselves trying to control outcomes. They chase, they force, They bend situations and people to fit their expectations. But Nietzsche understood, the one who doesn't chase, controls. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. What does that mean here? It means the more you try to control others, the more you lose control of yourself. The more you try to win arguments, chase respect, force outcomes, the more reactive, fragile, and predictable you become. And once you're predictable, you're powerless. The silent trick? Become unbothered, not numb, not passive, just centered. You stop trying to control situations, and you start commanding yourself. You don't walk into a room needing anything from it. You walk in already full, already anchored. That's when people feel it. They don't know why you pull them in. You didn't speak first. You didn't perform. But they feel it in your presence. This person is different. Because silence, when grounded, becomes volume. It says, I know who I am. I know what I tolerate. And I don't bend my spine just to keep the peace. In today's world, being silent is often mistaken for weakness. But in Nietzsche's philosophy, it's the opposite. The one who can remain silent and still influence the entire room is the one who holds true power, because he is ruled by principles, not by people, by his own clock, not by urgency, by clarity, not by clout. You see, when you stop trying to be seen, you start being felt, and the one who is felt quietly without force, that person can't be ignored. So what is the silent trick? It's this: delay your reactions, withhold your energy, speak when it matters, move only when aligned, let others reveal themselves, while you stay watching, you stay rooted, because silence isn't absence, it's command in its purest form. Nietzsche's philosophy was never about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming unshakable. There's a difference. Untouchable means you build walls. Unshakable means you build roots. And the silent trick, the one almost no one teaches, is this: the person who can sit with their chaos quietly wins. Because most people need to talk their way out of pain. They need noise to distract themselves. They need other people's reactions to feel real. But the one who can sit in a room in total silence, with their thoughts, their doubts, their fears, and not run, that person is rare. And that person is dangerous in the most beautiful way. Because nothing scares the world more than someone who doesn't need it. Nietzsche called it the Übermensch, the higher man, not because he was better than others, but because he transcended the need for constant validation. He obeyed his own rhythm. He defined his own values. He moved at his own pace. That is the core of real power. It's not about silence for silence's sake. It's about what silence means when it's chosen from strength. When you stop reacting, you start observing. When you stop explaining, you start becoming undeniable. Because you don't beg for understanding, you embody it. You don't need approval. You radiate certainty. And people feel that. Even if they don't like you, they respect you. Even if they misunderstand you, they remember you. Because you weren't trying to be known. You were simply being you, still, calm, focused, moving from depth, not desperation. And that's unforgettable. So when Nietzsche said, become who you are, he wasn't asking you to discover some magical new version of yourself. He was asking you to return, to strip away the noise, to remember the part of you that already knows. That silence is not weakness. It is a strategy, a sword, a shield, a language. And if you can wield it with clarity, with calm, with command, you don't just become powerful, you become free. If this resonated, take a moment to subscribe, drop a comment below, not for the algorithm, but to mark this chapter in your journey. If you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're remembering, returning, reclaiming your inner ground, because this wasn't just a video, it was a mirror, a quiet invitation to stop performing, stop chasing, and start commanding. You don't need louder words. You need deeper presence. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You need to understand yourself completely. So trust that the video YouTube shows you next, the one appearing now, is not random. It's the next doorway, the next signal, the next level. We'll see you in the next depth. Depthoria continues.